Today we're still in our pillar of consistencies, and we've been talking about just different cases and how being consistent really shifts the routines and shifts your dog into a better place, and how it helps them stay consistent, but also just connected, and it's just an important pillar to dog training. And so let's talk about a case that I went on a consultation yesterday, and it was a wire-haired Griffon, and he was rescued from a shelter up in Idaho, Hailey, Idaho, and they sent him over to Hailey because Hailey has a no-kill shelter. And so the dog had been running loose for quite a while before somebody actually could catch it. And this couple had Griffons before, and they thought, oh, it's a great opportunity. Their one previously got out of the gate and ended up getting hit by a car. And so they thought they were getting the same Griffon that they had before, which is not the case. And so what they have is an incredibly crazy, neurotic Griffon that when they take him up hiking, he disappears for hours, and they have to actually go find him. He doesn't come back to them. And even when he sees them, when they find him, he's not happy or excited to see them. They've only owned him for about 6-7 months. But they took him and just kind of owned him, and just like, hey, this is our lifestyle, this is what we're going to do. And they lived between here and Moab, and hours that he would be gone, disappear. He would stay with them if they were mountain biking, but as soon as if they stopped and another biker went by, he was chasing and keeping up with them, and then there was no coming back. And then at home, he's super social with other dogs. He's questioning people, but I think it's just from being captured and all of that in his life that's probably hasn't had a whole lot of great people interact. He's not aggressive, he's just more leery of them. But at the house, he will just stay outside and stay focused on the squirrels and the birds, like ultra focused. And then in the house, he fixates on, like, if there's a little dust flying through the air, he fixates on it and just stays fixated. Like, he's just like, well, I'm trying to see, like, what's falling from the sky. He literally stays so focused and fixated on it. And then he's just, there's no response. Like, the only thing that gets him to kind of relax and settle in is if he gives him, like, he's got some of those, nylabone stuff, things to chew on. And they can't give him any valuable things as far as like bones and stuff like that to chew on, because he gets pretty aggressive about it. So if they give him one of those big nylabone things, he'll lay at their feet and chew on it, but he has to be touching their feet, and it's very physical at that point. But as soon as that goes away, he's off to like watching and doing, and it's super crazy kind of feel. And the things that they've done is they haven't done any formal obedience. They've just kind of worked with them as their life that they have, and they've put a shock collar on him. He chases or reacts to buses and motorcycles and skateboards, and what else talk about? Oh, if he sees a cat, a bird, a squirrel, like, it's a game on fixation. So they thought, well, let's put a shock collar on. They were only using the beak, and that seems to like get him like snapped out of it, but not for any duration whatsoever. And not any shocking type stuff, but definitely it helps keep him going. He was trying to exercise him on his bike, and he saw a cat and yanked him over and broke his wrist, and it was just a major catastrophe with that. So, so one thing, that I talk to him about is, what are the routines, what's happening in the household, and they're pretty laid back people. They're, life is just kind of good. They have an old, like, she's probably 112 years old, lab that's in the house that she just is like this old lady that's like, I don't know what he's doing, but I'm gonna go lay over here. And so that was my consultation. So I sent over a plan to him, but let's talk about it as trainers as far as some things that, that's all I know. And the dog is not crate trained, but that's what I know. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what the training plan would be and what that would look like in shifting and creating consistency in this dog's life to find comfort and peace and just existing. Melissa?
My first thought obviously is like routines, and getting this dog that structure, which sounds like they've been doing, but being laid back is sometimes hard to be with routine. I struggle with that sometimes. But having him on leash all day, anytime they're by him, on leash, connected to them, and I definitely do crate training. And even when they're out and about hiking, long line. Or using the e-collar as it's meant to be used with hunting dogs, and using that shock and teaching him that recall, and it would be a very structured recall in a very like that kind of training sense, but starting with hand feeding, you're on leash every day, this is the stuff you do. Obviously the times will change, but getting him your expectation is to lay at my feet because you have to, because you're on leash. And for a while, he'll probably still be fixating on other things, but not giving that energy. Giving other stuff energy and going, oh, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to do some training. We're going to hand feed. And using the crate for the high-value stuff that he gets. Because it's no surprise that he's getting resource guarding with those if he's been living out on the DL. But having that be his own time, but having a very this contrast between this is your time and this is back time, because he's been own time for forever, and so it's gonna be hard to adjust back into that. But consistency is what they need to do, and it's one of those things that you won't see. It won't be an automatic but that's when it takes that it's not working, but you gotta keep doing it because it really is. We don't know what's going on in his mind, and it is working, but we just don't see the magic fairy. Whatever.
Michelle?
It's interesting because he's obviously just in survival mode, right? Like that's what's going on. Like everything is like, I have to survive. So it could be interesting because I really think that either way you look at this, it has to be consistent. Melissa's 100% right. Like the easiest way to do this is to make a schedule, which is so hard to do for people like that. I am that person. I'm a very laid back person. We do not get up at the same time every day. We do not go to bed at the same time every day. Some weekends we go to bed at 5 a.m. You know what I mean? Like we just are not consistent people when it comes to that in my house. So writing it down I think is really important. I think the problem with a dog like him though is that could totally backfire, and he might want to get away from them and be like, I want no part of being with you. So if it's just survival, it might be better to take everything away from him that is a survival thing, and the only attention he gets is survival from them. Food, water, walks, like everything that is like shelter, which it would be crate training I would think would be a huge thing so that he starts to feel safe inside their house. And that's hard for people to do, is to completely ignore your dog unless it's survival. Like that is so hard. But sometimes with dogs like that, that's your only option for a while. Is to get them to come to you, not the other way around. And believe me, with June, I was there. Like it was really hard not to, like, I wanted her to love me so bad. But that's not who she was. She was definitely a survival dog, and everything had to be like, she had to come to me for it. And it's hard. It's really hard. Especially to be consistent with that. I think that's the hardest way to be consistent, because you're like, I just want you to sit on the couch with me, or
He they're just at such a loss, because it's like that, all the other dogs we've had have just like folded into this great life that we have, and this one's
and it sounds like their lifestyle is perfect for a dog like him.
Totally,
Once he gets out of the survival craziness,
he sees no value in people whatsoever. Shannon, do you have any thoughts?
I think the hardest thing is to be patient, like in being consistent. Because you have to really do it for a really long time, the exact same way before you see any results. Like, for example, with Dutch, I've had her since May.
Mm-hmm.
And just at Christmas, like, she will sit by you on the sofa and put her head on you to like, but any noise, she jumps, you know,
Yeah.
she has to get up. But
Yeah.
that's a long time,
Yeah.
especially for people that like really, really want that in their dog. You know, I
Right.
have a lot of dogs, so I get my cuddles
Right.
from the other dogs.
Yeah.
You know, but that's months and months of doing the same routine. We
Yeah.
all sit on the sofa and we watch TV and we cuddle, and that was not that dog's thing. No, I have to see this. No, I have to do this. I have to, you know.
Yeah.
And it took a long time to take away the idea that you have to be busy. Like that took a really long time.
Right.
You know, and then she would sit on her bed. Like,
Right.
okay, great, you're on the bed. We're not running all over the house. That was months.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
we've graduated to I could sit on the sofa by you, and now we're at I can sit at the sofa by you and touch you at
Yeah.
the same time. You know.
Right. Yeah.
But and she wasn't like a wild dog like
Yeah.
this. I mean, she
Yeah.
didn't live in a house, and
Right.
she didn't have like lots of human contact and stuff. But it wasn't like a wild survival
Yeah. Yeah. She
thing,
had her needs
like
met, just
this
like
other
the same.
dog. But that's still almost a year. Like I mean,
Yeah.
it's still a couple months until May. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's a long time for a dog that is like a mostly normal dog.
Right.
So when you have a dog that is way outside of normal, it's an even longer process, and it gets frustrating because you're like, it's not working, and you just you have to have this patience
Yeah.
to do the same thing every day
Yeah.
until it works.
Yeah.
And it's really hard. It's really hard.
Melissa, did you have something to say? I think that it's, this piece of it is not, it's not about teaching a sit, it's not about teaching it down, it's not about the obedience part of it, it's this, you know, one, giving this dog permission to sleep. Like, he doesn't want to be in the room, he doesn't want to, like, he's so on all the time that I think, he, you know, there's exhaustion that's happening on top of it, so we take that and put it into a survival zone where he has no safe place to be, you know, and he had mentioned, you know, that he's been reading online and you know, he has read that, you know, about 50% of Griffons you just cannot crate train, and I told him, well, I'll take those 50% that can't be crate trained and I'll crate train them, because if it's done right and it becomes their place of permission to just sleep and check out, they will find value in that if it's done correctly. But you know, that you hear and you read all these things like, oh, don't do that and don't do this, and you know, they just need to adjust and they just need to get into things, you know, your routines and, you know, the things that you're doing. That's not always the case, and that it's not this, let's not do anything and the dog will appreciate, because if a dog's learned that they don't need a person, they're gonna go, you know, thanks for the food and thanks for the shelter, but I'm still gonna go do my own thing and I don't really care about you, and every opportunity that I have to get out and do my thing, I'm gonna do my thing. And so I think that it's so hard to find consistencies and find the routines when there's so much out there online that's pushing against that right there. And that why consistency, routines, training is so taboo right now, where we just happily all exist in this world and hope that it all works out. So you know, it's a little frustrating sometimes when you're going home and then the people go, oh, that's what we tried and it's not working, and then they go, and then now we have to get a dog trainer, where I think everybody should be getting a dog trainer, everybody should be training, everybody should be setting routines and expectations for their dogs, not just let's just see what happens and where it
I
goes.
think that's a good thing, like a good point to bring up, because even all of us in this room, being that we're dog trainers, I still come to you for advice.
Yeah.
I still go to Shannon for advice, and she's not even an actual dog trainer here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I go to you for a lot of advice,
Yeah.
even when it just comes to my dogs.
Yeah.
Just like when it comes to training,
Yeah.
sometimes you just need that like outside perspective.
Right.
So I think it's really important that you get a trainer or some kind of professional in your life that can
Yeah.
help you with this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Because it just, you want so bad to make it work, but if you're not, you're in it, you're just in the trenches with them and not know what to do, and then, you know, then you feel like you're only end is, well, maybe we're not the right home. No, that's not the case at all for this dog at all. Like, he's in the best place he could be.
It sounds like
Yeah.
it sounds great.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is probably even more frustrating to them because they're like, why? Or
Right.
is this not working?
Yeah, yeah. So, we'll see what they do. I sent over, training plan for them, and we'll see where it goes. But it definitely, I felt really bad for the dog just watching it fixate and obsess over nothing, but it's crazy. It's gone crazy, and it needs to sleep. It needs permission to just have better structure and better routines. And somebody to tell them how, to be consistent with what they're doing. Do you have anything else to add, Melissa? So I think it's important that you create consistency in your dog's life at the best that you can. There's still times, even if you're the most inconsistent person, you have consistencies within the inconsistencies somewhere. We all do. We all get into our car and start the car the same way. The morning may not be routine and consistent, but there's things. We all brush our teeth, not exactly like each other, but you will brush your teeth the same way that you brush your teeth every day. So there is consistency in everybody's life, so you can give that to your dog in some little way to make it work for them.